everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's sketch challenge night, so it's Tuesday night and here I am with a sketch challenge. Now, this one's a little bit different because I'm pre-recording this one. So it's going live when it normally goes live at 6:30, and the sketch will actually post on social media in about a half an hour after this video goes live. So 6:30 Pacific is the time that this is live. And I am in Vienna getting ready for backstage, or not backstage, on stage, Stampin' Up! On stage. So I wanted to make sure I pre-recorded the video and did my sketch challenge so that you wouldn't miss out. So I hope you enjoyed this sketch. It's pretty simple, but I really love the card that I have in mind for it. And I am using a Wish and a Fish, which is a punch bundle from the annual catalog. I really love this one, and I just shared a shaker card I made a couple of weeks ago. I made a shaker card using the medium clear envelopes with this bundle. So today I'm making a little more simple card, but hopefully you'll find inspiration and be able to use the sketch in other ways. All right, let me switch over and we'll get started. All right, so as I said, this is being pre-recorded, so I will go back and look at the comments. If you have questions, just leave a comment. Let me know you're watching, and I will definitely go back and look at the comments. So this is my sketch for today. So it's pretty simple. You've got a card base that's either 5.5 by 8.5 or 4.25 by 11. Your first layer, which is this blue layer, is 4 inches by 5.25. And then you've got about a 2.5-inch circle. My circle might be a little bit smaller than that. I'm just trying to see what my circle is. Oh no, 2.5 inches. And then you've got layer number 1, or 3, which is this green layer, which is about 1 inch by 2 inches. And then this white one, is 5/8 inch by 2 inches. So you can do with them, you could, one could be a sentiment and one could be something else, or yeah, lots of ways you could use this one. So as I said, if you missed any of those measurements, this sketch will go live in about a half-hour time on my Facebook group page and on Instagram so that you can grab it from there. And then don't forget to jump over to my Facebook group. The link is underneath this video, and share your cards because I'd love to see what you created. Okay, so this is the A Wish and a Fish bundle. So these really cute fish, some waves, some seaweed, little tiny fish, and some really pretty sentiments. And then a punch that punches out these two fish, and also some, I think these are fins. I haven't used those yet. I just tend to punch out the fish. And I'm going to use a wave, and I'm using a Sea of Thanks as my card, or as my sentiment. All right, so let me bring in my supplies. So I'm using Bermuda Bay as my card base. Grab my paper trimmer. So this is 4.25 by 11, and I'm scoring it at 5.5. Always have to double check and make sure I have my scoring blade and not my cutter. Wouldn't be the first time I use the wrong blade. Okay, so this is the side I score on. This is the raised line. So always fold into that raised line or the mountain and give it a really good burnish with your bone folder. So that's your base. Now, I am using vellum cardstock. I seem to be on a vellum cardstock. Somebody asked me to use vellum cardstock. Claudia, I think, and so I've been using a fair amount of it. Now I have gone, because I like vellum that has been embossed, so I went ahead and embossed my vellum, which is 4 inches by 5.25, using the time-worn type embossing folder. This is one of my absolute favorites. It's one of my go-to ones when I want just kind of a somewhat subtle background image. You can read a few of the words, so you do have to make sure that you've got your words going the right way. And I do. So harvest is the word, so I can see harvest here. And so then I tend to pick out that harvest word and make sure I have it going the right way. And then I cut out a circle using the Stylish Shapes dies, and this is the second largest circle. So that one is cut out of Bermuda Bay. Now, the one thing with vellum is you can see the adhesive behind it. So I tend to figure out where I'm going to put something over top of it, and that's where I adhere it down. And so I tend to leave my vellum kind of free floating. If I need to, I can put a glue dot just behind. So the embossing helps hide the, so you probably can't see that. I can just see it, but the embossing helps to be able to hide that that adhesive really well. If you didn't have the embossing, you would see this adhesive. So sometimes I try and avoid it. If it's not laying flat, I will put a couple of glue dots on, but it seems to be doing all right. Okay, so let's get this ready. And now for some reason, I decided to use shimmery white cardstock. You don't have to, you can use basic white, but I've grabbed shimmery white and I'm using Coastal Cabana. So just a, oh gosh, there we go, it's tight. So just a little bit different than the balmy or the Bermuda Bay. So I'm going to take the wave stamp and I'm just going to take and stamp some couple of waves across this piece. And then I'm going to take and stamp my one fish. I'm just using one fish. And while I have my ink pad out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. I've got a sea of thanks. And, okay, so I'm just going to let those sit for just a minute. I find that if I brush too much, maybe on shimmery white, it will maybe I will smudge it a little bit. So I've grabbed my two Bermuda Bay Stampin' Blends. And I know I've showed this in the past, but you can get a splatter technique by taking your blends and using the brush end. Now gently, because you don't want to really go at it and break down the tip of your brush end, but just take your brush end and gently rub it in the cap and you will get some splatter. So it may be hard for you to see. If I raise this up a little bit, you might be able to see. Well, you can kind of see the little splatter marks. Just a little bit of subtle splatter, and you can add the lighter one if you want. And the other thing that you can do is if you want to splatter, you can splatter using Wink of Stella too. So I'm just going to make sure I have some Wink of Stella. There we go. So make sure you've got some. And then just take your Wink of Stella and splatter, and you will get kind of shimmery splatter. This is going to be a little hard to see on here, but I can see it. So I'm going to, there we go. So again, you might not be able to see the shimmer, but anyway, just a way to make some splatter and add some more kind of detail to your card. Now this is going to go down here. I have got the remnants of my white baker's twine. So I'm just going to take and wrap this around. Oh, I've only got a little bit left, so I might as well use it all. Wrap this around the palm, and then I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal and just kind of pinch it together. And then you'll just see kind of the top and bottom above my circle. Get my little tails inside so they're not showing. All right, so that's going to go on like that. So we will use dimensionals. You can use white or you can use your black dimensionals. Get the side that I stamped on down. Get my waves going the right way. I don't know if there's a right and wrong way, but at least they're going the right direction. All right, and now I'm going to take and punch out, and of course I've stamped my fish going the wrong way. That's not clever because I want to be able to see my fish. So I need to punch or stamp my fish going the other way. So let's do that again. Should always look to see what's happening with the punch. There we go. So now I can take, hopefully I don't smudge this, and punch out my fish. Oops, and the fins fly. All right, and then while that's, I'll just take my scissors. So I'm just going to fussy cut this. I could have cut it 5/8 of an inch or 1/2 an inch, but I always say just kind of, you know, that piece for the sentiment is just a rough guess of what the sentiment will be, and you can adjust it however you want. All right. Let's see. A little bit long, but we'll just trim it off a little bit on each end. There we go. And now we're going to use, so lots of ways you can do this. So my top off of my sketch was a rectangle, so my fish is kind of rectangular, so we'll put him at the top, and then we'll take a couple of dimensionals. Oops. Probably don't need 3, but just make sure it doesn't sag in the middle. And we'll put sentiment there, straight. Okay, and now I've got a piece of, I just grabbed a piece of basic white cardstock that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we're just going to stamp the fish down here in the corner. Like that. And I'm going to stamp the wave. I'm going to stamp off, and we'll just stamp the wave kind of over the fish like that. And then that leaves me lots of room to write my sentiment. Just use Stampin' Seal because that's what I have in front of me. And then we just need to put some embellishments on the front. So I've grabbed these. These are the fine sparkle adhesive back gems. These are part of the gnomes, the Kindest gnomes or the storybook gnomes. And there are 4 colors: Calypso Coral, Pale Papaya, Balmy Blue, and Pool Party. So let's use the Pool Party ones because they definitely coordinate with Bermuda Bay. And just add some more sparkle to the front of my card. So there is my version of this sketch. So hopefully pretty simple. Lots of ways you could use it. You could use designer series paper. You could use you could do some stamping on here. You could use plain cardstock and emboss. Lots of ways that you could use this sketch. So don't forget to go out to my social media, whether that's my Facebook group page or Instagram, and grab the sketch and make your cards. And then don't forget to share your cards on my Facebook group. And maybe at the end of November, I'll be sending you happy mail for sharing your cards. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me. Now, I will have a pre-recorded video for you on Thursday night with a technique. So I hope you'll join in and share your cards again that you make using the technique. And then I will be live again, or actually I will have a recorded video for you for next Tuesday as well. So I'm gone in Vienna until the 16th of November, and then I will be back live. All right, everybody, stay tuned. If you're part of my social media on my group page, I will be posting pictures of the trip to Vienna and, of course, on stage. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Happy stamping.